summer practice?
Well, I would say, first of all, that we're better today than we were a year ago at this time. I think our returning players just have more understanding, more confidence, a little more skilled. I think the new players have brought us some size, athleticism, some speed. They've added some different pieces. So it's been in competitiveness. They've done a really good job. And the best part is this group continues to challenge each other. Our workouts have been highly competitive, and that's been really good to see.
How much of a roller coaster was it this time last year? Like, how much further ahead are things just overall this June compared to last June?
Well, I thought last year at this time, we were put in a spot where it was good because we had a chance to practice our 10 practices before we went on a foreign tour, and that was really great. The hard part about that was we had to get ready. In order to get ready to play in a game in August, you have to have all these things done, where this summer we can focus on improving in 3 key areas and then build from that. So we can see that we're getting better in those areas, where last summer we were working on so many different things, and while we were getting better in all those little things, it was hard to say we were getting a lot better in any one area, if that makes sense. So this summer we're able to focus a lot more on a couple key things. Offensive efficiency for us is one that we're really focusing on, which means, and we're really focusing on scoring, how we score at the rim and the mid-range area. We're also working on defensive efficiency. Being really active is something that we're really focusing on, active on and off the ball. And then the third component for us is really improving our ball handling and passing, which allows us to play faster, more versatile, all those type of things. So we're able to really focus in on those 3 areas this summer.
You clearly have more depth, particularly in the post and at guard. Have you kind of figured out a pecking order? I know Kennedy's not going full go yet, but you've had a look at some of the other newcomers in Alexia. Just how much of a impact will that depth have, do you think, on this team?
Well, again, one of the things that we want to make sure that our young ladies coming in, so our newcomers this year, and actually last year it was everybody because everybody was a newcomer, is that we don't want anyone to take a back seat. That's not what this time of the year is about. It's about being really aggressive and making things happen, and that's where you learn, whether that's you do something aggressive and you do it really well and you have good results, or you don't have good results and you learn from that. This is really a key learning time of the year for us. And so first and foremost, we want the newcomers to be really aggressive, and I think they've done a great job of doing that. While they've become more aggressive, certainly the players that they're working with and competing with are equally as aggressive, and so the competitiveness level has continued to rise. And it's making all of our players better in that way. They're stretching their games in new ways, and that's exactly what we want at this time of the year.
It wasn't the tournament, obviously you wanted to end in, but you're playing for a championship at the end of the season last year. Just what does that give you to build on what you're building here at Minnesota?
Well, you guys may or may not know this, but I really enjoy 90s music. I enjoy a lot of music, but on our playlist during that time of the year, we had a 90s song. It was an MC Hammer song. It's called Gaining Momentum. And so I won't sing it for you. It's okay, but you should look it up because I'm sure you've never heard it before. But it's a great song. And so we played it, and actually played it in practice maybe last week, and Maya looked at me and she goes, "This is that song, Gaining Momentum." And I said, "Yes, it is." It's good that she knows it. But that stretch allowed us as players to gain momentum, but as a program to gain momentum, to understand. And I thought we learned a lot during that stretch. Going on the road and playing in different environments, very challenging environments, was something that's really good for us and will help us moving forward, and really is helping us now.
Basketball will always be basketball, but do you ever stop and just shake your head in amazement at how much your job has changed in your time being a head coach from the beginning till now?
Well, I think that every single day. It really is. It's something that is so new, and we're trying to study all of what does revenue sharing look like? What is that going to be? How do we capitalize on that and do it a little bit better, as well as we can possibly do it? And then you look at what NIL and how now we can be actively engaged and with specific contracts and specific players, which that wasn't permissible even 6 months ago. And I think ultimately, as we get into this, the reason you get into coaching is to be a transformational coach and to help young ladies grow into confident young women, not just on the basketball court, but in so many different facets of their life, and watch that help them grow throughout for the next 40, 50 years of their life. And so that's what you don't want to miss out on that, what really is important, to focus on what's all changing and what's all seems immediate at this point in time. The fun about the summer months for us is that we use it to do a lot of team building, a lot of team bonding. And so in week 1, we did some leadership and team building activities. Week 2 was camp. And while, believe it or not, that is really team building at the same time, because you're all going through it and it's a challenge. And I thought our players did a great job and helping grow the youth and pass it, move it forward, move the game forward. And then this week we've been fortunate. We signed Allie Marsh to our team last night through Team Impact. We have an opportunity today to hear from a female leader after our practice. So it's really kind of, this is a fun time of the year for us. Our players are really only in 1 or 2 classes, so they have a lot more free time to do different community service events, camps, those type of things. So, and while we're doing that, we love doing it together because we're building that camaraderie and that chemistry. So that part hasn't changed for us, but it's a lot busier now because you're scheduling around your players have different obligations because they have other different NIL opportunities, and now they have these things that you have to schedule around, so it becomes a little bit busier too.
Don, piggybacking off that, I mean, when you have the age of the NIL and portal, I mean, how important was it to keep your core six intact and bring them back, and how serious were some of those conversations as far as making sure that the kids stayed?
Well, it was vital for us. In order for us to move the program forward, to continue to grow, you need consistency. And we're really, really fortunate to be able to have the quality and the depth and the desire of these young ladies to grow this program and move it forward. So we're really, really blessed in that way. We're really fortunate.
Are you aware of Mara in particular, or maybe Amaya as well, being offered more money by other programs, and they said, no, we'll stay here?
It's a different day and age in terms of there are interactions that take place after games, wherever it is, through social media outlets, and it's constant. It is constant. And so for those 2 young ladies and for all of our young ladies to stay locked in to being here and being the precious present and moving us forward is something that's really special and something we're really excited about, which is why it's also our job as coaches to really do everything we can to help grow our collective, to help grow their opportunities, to really set them and put them in positions where they deserve to be.
I mean, it's agents now, though, right? I mean, agents are now being involved brokering these deals. So I'm just wondering, like,
Right. Yeah,
is it
it's
logical to think Mara was offered more money elsewhere and she said no? Like, I bleed maroon and gold, I'm staying here?
Well, you'd have to ask Mara that specifically and have her answer that. But I would say this: we know that Mara is someone who, yes, was contacted, reached out to quite a bit. I mean, she's someone who her maturity is off the charts. You know, and last summer we had a chance to see that for the first time, or last spring when we started working out, because at the end of our practice we have a winner of the day, and she oftentimes is the winner of the day, and then the winner of the day gives a shout out to the team or teammate. And what she would say at that point in time, in those moments, I thought to myself, she's seeing the game in a way that most players don't see it. Most players see it as they're playing it. She sees it as if she's on the sideline watching it, but yet she's in the middle of playing. It's just, it's impressive. And so for her to be able to do that, and now we're watching her continue to grow. I think she's maturing in the way that she leads. I think she's I saw her today just walking into the office, and I was like, you're getting stronger. She physically is getting stronger, which I believe that she is, but she's also carrying herself with a lot of confidence. I just think she's continuing to get better, and it's really fun to see.
How much is your recruiting changed in terms of those 4 women? They've stayed here through a coaching change. They've stayed here through NIL. That seems rare to me as I look around and things. And I'm wondering, when you recruit, how much do you think about that? Is this person in for the long haul? Is this just, do you think about? I mean, you must have to, right?
Well, we do, and we want to recruit. We want to recruit young ladies, young women who want to be here at the U. That's really, really important to us. And we say that we have an old school approach That doesn't mean that I'm old. Kent, don't put that in there, right? But we have an old school approach in the regard that we want to build this with 4-year players. We want to build this and have consistency within our program. Is it realistic that every player is going to be in that situation? No, that's probably not realistic. But with our majority, that's exactly what we want to try to do, is have players who are here. Because as we watch them, and today in practice, we'll watch some film of players who are in our system for a number of years. And so what we're seeing now is we watch film of us, and we don't watch much film of us from 2 years ago, but we watch some film of us from last year. We watch film of us in practice now. We watch film of what we want it to look like, whether that's players that have been in our system for a while. We're looking at WNBA players and all type of try to teach. And I think what's really fun is when you have a core group who have been together for a few years. Right now, we're watching it in practice. Our players are coaching each other because now they have a better idea. And so we as coaches can kind of sit back and watch and take a different view and maybe look at some other dynamics rather than coach each specific thing. And so it's been great for us. It's great for us to have that consistency. It's something that's really, really important to us in the recruiting process, yes.
I mean, you have your top 5 points, minutes, and rebound players back from last year. I think you were a tournament team when Mara got hurt last year. A lot of people had you at that. And so, I mean, I would imagine you have fairly lofty goals, but when you have kids who had this much playing time in their first 2 years, what kind of jump can you expect from that core group from their sophomore to junior years?
Well, I think this is the time when they really, I think they're really going to make another major step forward, in understanding and in completion of a task. As a matter of fact, I've gone back and I've watched probably some of our South Dakota film more recently, because those were young ladies who had been in the system for a few years, and you see from even year 3 to year 4 for some of them, major growth and major changes. And so what we're trying to look at right now is, where are some of those areas? I think Mallory Heyer is a good example. I think she is someone who is handling the ball more efficiently. I think her scoring efficiency is increasing. I think Sophie is handling the ball with more confidence, those type of things. Mara's working on getting to the rim and making more things happen rather than just relying on shooting, and that's something she was really focused on last year, continuing to grow her game. Amaya understanding how getting to the rim is going to continue to get easier for her as she understands what her options are when she's there, and that she doesn't have to rush to make those decisions. Getting Grace to be, again, comfortable getting all the way to the rim and making those things happen, not relying on just her shot. So I think it's growing, it's evolving with those 5 in particular. With all the rest, I think it's continuing to evolve as well. But I think we expect there to be a major jump now that they've not only been in the system, but they've played in games, and a lot of them played in games for 2 years now. I think they're physically, mentally stronger from doing that.
You mentioned improving on the scoring efficiency side. Just there's the Boston Celtics shooting 40 to 53s a game. Just how is yours? Obviously NIL changes, but also your view of the game kind of changes as well with the times. Just how have you kind of adapted and changed your philosophy in terms of the offensive side of the ball?
Well, I think ultimately, if you look at the Big Ten last year, and you look at the #1 scoring team in the nation, you look at the #1 field goal efficiency team in the country, you're looking at a lot of the best efficient teams, they were in the Big Ten. Big Ten led the country last year in a lot of those categories, or had teams consistently towards the top. And so when we look at it, we look at where we are comparatively speaking within the Big Ten, where we want to be at the top, but also to compete nationally. And so when we look at those things, yes, offensively, we have to be really efficient. What we're working on right now is, I think at times we settle too much. We settle for a shot that's maybe 4 feet from the rim when we could have gotten all the way to the rim. We settle for a pull-up shot rather than continuing to attack and turn through some of that contact. And yes, we can still create wide open arc shots, and we take those, and we're okay with those. But there are times when I think we as a group have to become better, and that'll actually be one of the things we really focus on today in our workout, is not settling and continuing to attack. But then you have to attack and make good decisions with it. That's the next part of it. You can continue to attack and get all the way to the rim, but then you take really bad shots at the rim. That's not what we're looking for either. And so the only way you really learn how to do that is to do it in a drill, see it, do it in a drill, practice it again, go back and watch it again. So we try to watch little clips. We don't sit down and watch long stretches of film at this time of the year, but watch little clips to see what that looks like. And then our players really want to be good, but now it means you have to make some adjustments. And this is the time of the year. What does it matter if you make those mistakes and you're making aggressive mistakes? You learn from it, you move on, so that you're ready when the season comes around.
I'm wondering how your preparation may change as we add teams to the Big Ten. I mean, I'm with you. We've had Big Ten teams at the top of the nation. Now we add teams who are also in the top 10 in UCLA, USC. What changes? Or does anything change in your preparation?
Yeah, at this time of the year, I don't think anything changes for us. The tactical part of how we get there and what that looks like, yes, that'll change. But at this time of the year, we're just fighting to continue to get better. So that doesn't really affect us right now yet.
You have two fairly high-profile additions at different ends of the experience spectrum in Annika and Taylor. How are they integrating into the mix, and what are your early impressions of them?
I think they're phenomenal women. I think they get along with their teammates at such a high level. They understand both their teams in the past have been in the NCAA tournament. They're hungry. They want to get back to that. They want to be a major part of that. And they're both growing their games at the same time. So incredibly, incredibly coachable. I think they're really helping us and stretching us in a lot of good ways right now. I also think our other newcomers are too. Tori McKinney is a freshman who's come in and hasn't taken a back seat and is doing a really good job. McKenna Johnson had a chance. She was with us last semester, and she's continuing to be aggressive and assertive. That's really important. Alexia is someone who has a speed to her game and some ball handling that is going to help us. Jordan is someone who hasn't been able to practice with us full go yet because she's still coming back from an injury. But, I think they've been absolutely outstanding and been a lot of fun for us. I sure hope so. That's the goal, yes.
Non-conference schedule, making progress, like
Yep.
being here at UConn last year was phenomenal.
Right.
Against Tessa Johnson in South Carolina, anything along those lines?
Yeah, we don't have that scheduled for this upcoming year, but we are getting closer on it. Contracts have taken a little bit longer. We're still going through some of the tournament type of things, some tournament schedule or tournament contracts. So hopefully soon.